This year has been different.
Said that all winter championships would be canceled.
Now the NCAA canceling remaining championship games.
This season will be different. But our path to greatness,
to excellence,
to championships,
remains the same. And so we bring our drive,
our determination,
our hunger,
yesterday,
today, always. The journey continues.
Welcome into the Dana Duckworth Show. I'm Roger Hoover, joined by Coach Duckworth. And Coach, it was finally here last Friday night at Coleman Coliseum. You had to be thrilled that gymnastics season is underway.
Yes, the ladies were so excited to compete. They waited a long 10 months since the pandemic started, and they really wanted to go in there. We wanted them to be free, we wanted them to be present, and we really just wanted them to have the opportunity to shine and show off all the hard work from the preseason.
Yeah, in the days leading up to the meet, just how excited were your athletes ready to compete for the first time?
I think the word would be hungry. They were so hungry to get out there and show off all that hard work they've done. And there's been a lot of things we've asked of them. There's been a lot of things that have been different this year, just with the pandemic and how we train, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. But I just feel like the attitudes have been positive, the effort has been incredible, and they've really just honed in on being present with one another.
And of course, against Kentucky at Coleman Coliseum, you began on the vault.
Yes, and vault was really explosive. This is Lexi Graber. She has a huge 1.5 vault. She took the big step on that one, but still had a nice score. We were excited to be able to get out there. Look at the height, nice tight form in the air. That's a 1/10 deduction on that step. It was great to have Shallon back. She just got back after being gone this fall, so she just did a basic full, but you can see there she knows where that landing is. So that stuck landing, the vault starts at a 995 start value. And so you see here she has nice posture in the air. Everything is good. Really nails the landing. Exciting to have her back. We'll be upgrading that vault over time, but this was one of the highlights. A new face in Coleman Coliseum, Maddie Walagora, first time ever doing the 1.5 vault. It's a 10-0 start value. You see that she slid her foot a little bit, so there was still room for improvement there, but just the excitement of her doing this vault in competition for the first time after coming back from an ankle surgery that she had, which kept her out in her freshman year. So that was an exciting time.
Yeah, and overall, how'd you feel about the Crimson side in the vault?
I think we started well. I think there's room for improvement because we've got to get those landings a little more, basically amplitude and execution can be improved. But the nice thing is it was a good start. We created some momentum, and then we carried it on to the next event.
We'll take a look at the bars and the beam when we come back to the Dana Duckworth Show.
The Dana Duckworth Show is brought to you by Alabama One.
Welcome back to the Dana Duckworth Show. So already a very good start for Alabama on the vault. What were you hoping to see through the bars?
Really, the focus on bars was hitting our handstands, doing what we've been doing in practice every day. We have some depth to our bar lineup, which means the ladies are really pushing for that. I think that we had some excellent routines. We had, again, some new faces out there, and so it was a good start.
And starting things off for the Crimson Tide, Makari Doggett, after great success for her before in her Alabama career, she got you going with the bars.
Well, she was our anchor, actually, and so she started with a great routine coming after one of our athletes who had a fall. And so that's a big step for Makari. You see that she just makes everything so easy. All of her handstands on top of the bar. She has beautiful execution. Her toes are completely pointed. This double leg dismount has gotten just to be much more consistent. That's what we've seen out of Makari. This next right here is what basically made her I believe she had a 9.9 on that, so there's small little improvements with the foot on the landing right there. Now this is a new face, Cameron Machado, a freshman who just joined us. She has a high-flying routine. She starts off with a Maloney, right over to an immediate pack, but right into a toe-on. That connection is very difficult. Then she does what's called a Maloney half. Just you can see the bar routine never stops moving. Right here, a toe full to an immediate double tuck gets her combination bonus, and she nails that landing. And what you don't know is she was really nervous as a freshman getting out there. So to see her just handle that with great composure, very proud of how she handled that moment.
Next up, Shania Adams.
Shania Adams, another freshman, and she has a high-flying routine as well. She does a little different routine here, a Maloney to an immediate pack. This is all combination bonus. And then she does another, what's called Maloney half. So she does a toe, and then you see her turn half. It's beautiful. She has the same dismount combination as Cameron, a toe full, giving her combination bonus into the double tuck. And right there, she took that step on the landing. Overall, the routine was pretty done well. There was very little execution errors except this step right here. And you know, she's very hard on herself, so I know that that's going to be something that she's going to work toward this week in getting that landing.
So good work by the Crimson Tide on the bars. What were you hoping to see on the balance beam?
You know, balance beam was about consistency. Again, we've been training really well. We do intra-squads, which prepares the ladies for the pressure, but there's nothing more to prepare you than actually competing. And so we were ready to rock and roll on beam, and they did a nice job there. A few little things happened, but that also builds character in your beam team.
And Alabama would score a 49.250 on the beam as we get into the highlights, starting with Maddie.
So again, Maddie Walagora is such a beautiful story of resilience. She didn't get to compete her freshman year because of an ankle surgery, and here she sets up for a series of that handspring layout, just really well done. I loved seeing her composure. I love that she was smiling at the judge. The side aerial, again, no wobbles, keeping very consistent. She has really worked on her presentation, and right here she nails the landing, a beautiful stuck 1.5. You can't really ask for it to be done much better than that. So it was exciting to see her do beam for the first time in her college career and be rewarded for it.
Next up, Makari Doggett.
Now, Makari really attacks beam. Right now, she is in the anchor position and will be, basically throughout the season, moving people around in different places. But she just handled this position so well. Right here, she does a beautiful back handspring layout. That's called a acro series because she has 2 acro skills in it. This is a beautiful leap pass, a beat jump to a switch half to a beat jump. She makes it look easy, but it's really a 4/10 combination. Sets up for a beautiful dismount, a side aerial to a full twist, and gets that landing. You can see with her expression, she was excited about it. And again, when you kind of look at the performance, the ladies did a decent job. We did have a fall in our lineup, and actually what's good about that experience is that you can't worry about what happened before you. The next second, the most important thing that you do. And I think that when you have that event where beam is where they say that you win championships on balance beam. Well, I think you win championships on all events, but the reality is you got to stay really present. And so I think our ladies did an excellent job in following after a mistake and being able to stay calm, cool, and collective and doing their job well.
3 events in the books against Kentucky. Next up, the floor exercise. We'll take a look at that when we return on the Dana Duckworth Show.
The Dana Duckworth Show is brought to you by Alabama 1.
Now we get ready for the floor exercise, and really that's always the crowd pleaser at Coleman Coliseum. Everyone gets fired up for the floor.
Well, the crowds are different this year, Roger, and what was wonderful is that our ladies created their own energy from the sideline. Floor exercise is one of those events at the beginning of the year where you've trained, you've practiced, you've drilled and rehearsed, and then when you get out there in competition, you tend to put a little more into the presentation piece, and so you want to make sure that you're not putting too much in there so you can land your tumbling passes, and that is what we did. Our ladies did very clean, nice tumbling. I thought their leap passes were good, and so we started off floor with a lot of momentum and just kept building.
Lexi Graber would be the floor champion for the Crimson Tide. As we take a look at the highlights, she got off to a great start.
She really did. I love the dramatic type of music that she's using this in the very beginning of her routine. She really sets up this routine. She sees, you see her have eye contact. You see her set up for the first pass is a tucked pull in. It's one of the hardest passes you see in college gymnastics. She lands it with her chest tall. Everything is nice there. That just looks so easy for her. And the interesting piece here on the switch side to the wolf 1.5, that's her leap pass. Just beautifully done. Everything was so well executed. Her last pass is very challenging. She has a front through to a double pike. I thought her height was wonderful. The controlled landing was great. And it was awesome because in the middle of the meet, after bars, Lexi was not feeling well. So she actually was supposed to compete beam and didn't. And she said, "Coach, I can do floor." And I'm glad we put her in there because she anchored on that event. She did a great job. You see her just nail that last pass. And she really worked through. Now, this is Griffin James. There's a lot of story to the resilience of this young lady, because only 10 months ago, she had torn her Achilles. This is her first floor routine in competition since coming back. She has a front layout to a Rudy. You can see that she completely controls that landing. It's beautiful. This last pass, a double back. She was very nervous for this, and you see her land it with excitement. The girls, you can see the girls on the sideline. Everyone was so happy for her. And you know, it shows a lot of discipline, a lot of mental toughness, and a lot of resilience to come back from a nature of an injury like that. She was so excited at the end. Watch her here. She puts her head down and she forgets to salute the judge. She was so excited with just the fact that she did it, and she knew she did it. Unfortunately, there is a rule that you must salute the judge. So they ended up, she really had a 9-9, and then they ended up taking a full 10th because she did not salute the judge. And you know, those lessons have to be learned. Many people are disgruntled with the fact that that's the case, but at the end of the day, a rule's a rule, and we have to follow it. And so for the team, it's, you know, it's not over till you salute, and we can show that passion and share, but we got to make sure we do it at the right time.
And overall, just a great score, especially for a season opening meet, best in 7 years.
Well, you know, I didn't know that until you kind of shared that, and we did not focus on the score at all. What was really nice is you go into the last event and you have no idea other than you want to have a great performance, and that is the goal. And when you think about what are we trying to do every day, you hear Coach Saban all the time talk about the process, the process. Don't focus on the scoreboard. Well, it's the same thing in gymnastics. You do the very best you can do in the moment that you're under the bright lights, and you put it all out there, and you don't worry about the outcomes. You focus on what you got to do in that very moment.
Stay with us. We'll continue with more of the Dana Duckworth Show coming up next.
The Dana Duckworth Show is brought to you by Alabama 1.
Welcome back to the Dana Duckworth Show. And Coach, it's time for the tip of the week. But to get things started on the show this year, I wanted you to tell us about what it's like to manage this gymnastics team throughout a pandemic. What steps are you all having to take?
Well, I think the first thing is discipline, because we are wearing masks, we are social distancing, we are training in pods based on living situations. We're making sure that we're doing everything that's been asked of us. The ladies have really adapted well. So when you think about what's being asked of you, you know, wearing a mask while doing gymnastics is definitely something that we have not experienced before. But you don't hear the ladies complaining, because at the end of the day, we're getting to train. You know, there are some programs out there that haven't even had the opportunity to train altogether, and we've actually been able to follow some guidelines. So, for example, we're sanitizing the gym in between events. We are making sure that we are standing 6 feet apart or wearing masks. It's just been one of those things where you've had an attitude of gratitude that you get to be in there, and that whatever's asked of you, just be flexible. The reality is you have to control what you can control. And so the elements of staying safe are the things that we can control, and trying to do the best things we can to just stay flexible, adaptable, and do it as necessary.
Of course, we have a lot of resources here on campus in Tuscaloosa, but now your team is getting ready to travel. How will you manage travel coming up during the pandemic?
Well, traveling will be based on living situations for sure. We're going to make sure we have a seating chart. We've got, you know, special N95 masks that we'll use when we go on the airplane. We won't be eating together in open spaces or anything of that nature. So it's going to change the dynamic some, but again, I think our ladies have been so adaptable, and they've just really focused on the unpredictable piece, and they've just really had an attitude where whatever's thrown at us, we'll do it, we'll manage. And I think that is going to, basically the team that is going to be successful this year are the teams that discipline themselves in those areas outside of the gym as much as inside the gym.
One of those teams here on campus that stayed really disciplined was the Alabama football team, the national champions for 2020. When we come back, we'll talk about these backflips by Javon Baker, as Dana will break that down as we continue on the Dana Duckworth Show.
The Dana Duckworth Show is brought to you by Alabama 1.
Coach, when you win a national championship, what better way to celebrate than with some backflips?
Nice, a little leg separation there in the round off, but good height, nice execution. Look at the tight form in the air. A huge congratulations to the team, to Coach Saban, his staff. What a proud moment to win another national championship. So, nice way to celebrate. I think he did a great job there. Arms could have gotten up a little higher, but you know what? It's a 10.0 because they won a national championship.
That's what matters here at Alabama. Again, great to see that from Javon Baker as the Crimson Tide had some fun on Monday on the football field, but coming up on Friday, your team hits the road.
Yes, we do. It's our first away meet of the season. We are going to be headed to Missouri, and we're excited because we definitely started off strong against Kentucky, but we know where we need to improve, and we're going to focus on those small details and continue to just get better. We have more faces to add back into the lineup, more people to get experience, and it's only going to build the depth and the growth of this team.
Yes, what will some of the new wrinkles be for Friday night compared to what we saw last week?
Well, you know, first of all, we start off on bars instead of vault, and so it's nice to be able to do that. Luisa Blanco will be back up in the lineups this week, and we, again, have a lot of new faces. So 5 new faces competed last week, new experiences. So definitely need to focus on moving forward and keeping those kids coming.
Well, good luck to Alabama gymnastics on Friday against Mizzou. Roll Tide, Coach.
Roll Tide. Thank you.
Thank you for watching the Dana Duckworth Show.
This has been a presentation from Learfield IMG College.